Hello everybody, welcome back once again. This is going to be a video for the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. Basically, this is kind of going to be my Veldt manipulation. So I actually did a video based on this list, a couple of years ago. But because of the things that have changed, I figured I would give it a little bit of an update at least. This one's it's really just going to be me kind of going through this spreadsheet that I've got, which is essentially all of the Veldt packs. I guess just kind of the overview here. I do like manipulating the Veldt now because there's still some good farming opportunities for the for the Veldt, and really what we're looking to do, or what I was looking to do. Specifically, and now that I should say that now that the Pixel Remaster has the MP times 4, Gil times 4, I would just say that some of my view has kind of changed on what monster formations to get for the Veldt. Also, these days I care significantly less about getting a full rage list for Gao. At the end of the day, I really only ever use a handful of rages anyway, so kind of these days I don't care as much about, getting the complete list, but I'll at least kind of go through, kind of the way to get all of the rages, if that's something that you're interested in. Now, I know also some people like to get all of the different formations, which is just, I don't know why you would ever want that. That's a level of, like, I guess, completion that it just seems honestly kind of crazy to me, because there's no benefit to it, and it's gonna take you forever to cycle all this stuff, and it just sounds really, really obnoxious to me. So anyways, I generally don't do that. And again, as far as the way things have changed for the Pixel Remaster, it's just, I think that a lot of these packs don't really matter anymore, and you don't need to, like, super micromanage, like, okay, I need to get this pack here because it's worth so much more gil, because you get so much if you turn the 4 times gil option on that, again, I don't think it matters as much anymore. But anyways, all right, so let's get started. The Silver Lobo in pack 1, you don't need this. That's a default rage. I think this fight is kind of a forced fight if you walk to the right at the very beginning of the game. So this is actually just completely, it's actually really, really bad. The Silver Lobo times 2 is actually found in a chest at the beginner's hall in Narsh. I don't open this chest until the very end of the game because I don't want these 2 Lobos in here. The Guard times 2 is a forced fight. That's a Narsh fight. Fulper times 2 in Uruk. This is your first trip through the Figaro Cave. You need to get this one because it's missable. The rages aren't good by any means, but if you want a full list, you have to get that one. Silver Lobo Guard Leader, that's forced. Obviously, that's the Terra defense at the very beginning of the game. Hornet times 2, Fulper times 2, that's going to be South Figaro Cave again. You're going to just pass that, right? That's redundant. We don't need that. The Hornet is a default rage, so you don't need this. The Leaf Bunny single out on the world map, that's like just outside of Narsh. I wouldn't take that. That's redundant. Now here I've got the Leaf Bunny times 2 Darkwind, and I basically suggest to pass up on that. But I think I've kind of changed my mind on this. I kind of like this rage because it'll still end up in pack 1. And that's if you want the Leaf Bunny Darkwind, and the Darkwind rage is actually really good because it'll use, what is it, stone? No, it's not stone. It's petrify. Right? Or no, I'm sorry, it's break. And the reason why I used to suggest taking the Leaf Bunny times 2, Darkwind times 2, and I say to take that before the World of Ruin transition. Now, you can do that if you are planning on getting some of these other rages, and that probably makes sense because. And for reasons kind of that I suggested earlier, it's actually worth more money, right? Obviously, 2 Leaf Bunnies and 2 Darkwinds are going to be worth more than 2 Leaf Bunnies, 1 Darkwind. Now, This time around, though, when I played, or I guess I'm kind of going through it right now. I'm about halfway done. Just started the World of Ruin, but I've really been avoiding kind of as many packs as I even can. And so my opinion is, and if you want the Dark Wind, is to toss it into pack 1. And then keep pack 2 open as long as you can, especially if you're going to be cycling the Veldt a lot in the World of Balance, because that'll just you just won't have to even worry about this pack, and you can always add this stuff later. And that's the same with the second one, which is the Sandray Alacrin. I suggest taking that before the World of Ruin transition. So really up to you. If you're going super minimalist, well, I wouldn't take any of this stuff, right? And I don't take any of pack 2, but I think actually the best option here, for me anyway, would have been to go with this one and just keep pack 1 and then keep pack 2 completely empty. But anyways, the rest of pack 2 looks like it's all redundant. So this is Were-Rats, Hornets, Sandray, Alacrin. This is the stuff in the desert outside of Figaro Castle. And then Hornet Uruk, that's again that South Figaro cave. Moving on. All right, so the Gorgias ×2. I actually don't know where. I don't remember where this is probably Gorgias ×2. Where would that even been at? Oh, this is probably the defending Terra. And so there's at the beginning of the game there where you defend or you use the Mughals to defend Terra. There's a bunch of those monsters that kind of like you can see them and you can actually avoid them. And that's how I did it, right? I avoid all of those monsters and go right to the guard leader, right? Because that's a force battle that you actually have to do. Same with I think the Megalodoth, Silver Lobo. I think that's the same thing. I think that's the defending Terra stuff. Uruk, that's redundant. Belmadar Mu ×2, that's redundant. This is stuff on the overworld map. This is South Figaro Cave. Sorry, the Uruk ×3. Mu ×2 on Sealy. That's going to be out on the world map. All of these are basically redundant, other than the Belmadar, Unseelie, and Mu ×2, and you can take that right before the World of Ruin transition. And then Unseelie ×2 is redundant as well. So basically everything in Pack 3 is redundant aside from the one that's got all 3 in it. Pack 4, Mu ×4, that's redundant. Imperial Soldier ×2, Magitech Armor, that's Force, that's during Sabin's scenario. No way around that. Bandit Spritzer, I think, is the Narsh Caves, I think. Take before the World of Ruin transition. The single Magitech Armor is Forced. I don't remember which one that is. That might be the Magitech, or the Imperial Camp. Trillium, Gorgias, Kirpius. Take this one before the World of Ruins transition. That's the Mount Colt stuff. And then the rest of this stuff will be redundant because you'll get it in here. The Zagrum ×2 is redundant. I believe that's actually a default rage, so I don't think you ever need to get that. And then Zagrum, Trillium, Spritzer. This sounds like Mount Colt stuff still, so that's redundant. Magitech Armor ×2, that's Force. That's probably the one that when you're with Terra, it's Terra, Glock, and Edgar when you're kind of fleeing from Kefka. The Lesser Lapras ×2. Now this is going to be the Leith River, or whatever the river, like right when you're on the raft. I've got Forced for this stuff. I've never really tried, but I don't think this stuff is ever really. I don't think you can really do much with this stuff, right? Because you have to do those battles, even if you've got the encounters turned off. So you might be able to get away with not getting some of these, like maybe like the Lesser Lapras Exocyte ×2, maybe, like again, but also it doesn't really matter because it's all going to end up in Pack 5 anyway. So there's not going to be any way to completely avoid that pack. Pack 6 is the Silver Lobo Guard ×2. That's a Force Pincer from the very beginning of the game. So yeah, nothing that you can do about that. Were-Rat and Bandit is redundant. Same with the Were-Rat ×2. I think actually Were-Rat is a default rage. And then Doberman ×2. I like this one, so I take this one. This is you kick the chest in the Imperial camp. You gotta be careful though, because I think when you actually do that, when you kick that chest, you can get into the Doberman ×2 or the Doberman ×3, which is down here. but you want to get the one with the 2, right? Because you've already got some. I mean, specifically, you've got this forced battle in here anyway, so you're going to end up taking this pack no matter what. Pack 7. I guess I should have finished this up. So Actinian times 3. I say pass redundant, but this is the Serpent Trench. You're probably going to end up with this. I mean, technically you could avoid this, but it's going to be really tough. And I would actually rather have this one in here than some of the other ones. But if you're going for a full list, you can certainly reset your game a bunch and try to not get that one and get some of the other ones, which is fine. But again, it doesn't really matter anyway because you're forced to take this pack anyway. So for cycling purposes, you're just kind of boned there. Stray Cat times 3, that's redundant. You don't really want to get that one, right? Because there's this other one that's got the Nettle Hopper and Stray Cat times 2. I say to take that before the World of Balance. I'm sorry, that should actually be the World of Ruin. And then it says if you don't take it early, you can't get the Stray Cat for most of the World of Balance. So really up to you if you want to get this early. I don't care that much about the Stray Cat anymore. Well, I mean, it is a good rage. I don't care about it as much. Anywho, all right, Nettle Hopper times 3 is redundant. Same with the Chipper Rabbit times 5. That's redundant. Apiornis, redundant. Apiornis, and then Stray Cat, that's redundant as well. So this is the one that you want, though. You want the Apiornis, Chippy Rabbit. So I say take that before the World of Balance. So you're really looking for 2 of the formations from this entire pack. And then I've got a bunch of redundant stuff. It's weird that this is... I think that's spelled wrong. Oh yeah, I threw an R on here. Whoops. Let's fix that. So yeah, this stuff is redundant. Here's the Satellite Imperial Soldier times 4. You actually only see the satellite at first, right? And then the satellite will summon in Imperial soldiers. I say that this is very important because it gives you basically infinite green berets, and that actually is really good. Those green berets are pretty great. It's one of the best helmets, certainly the best helmet in the World of Balance. And then here's the 3 Dobermans, and I say again, pass on that because it's redundant. You want to get the other formation with the 2 Dobermans instead. The nice thing about this pack too is if you avoid this stuff, you'll always see the satellite early on, and you can farm up those green berets really quickly. The heavy armor, this is locked scenario, like where the heavy armor is by itself. I say pass on that because it's redundant. The ghost, this actually used to be a very good pack, or well, a formation to add to pack 9 because it gives you like 3 MP, right? So it can help you learn your spells really quickly. But at this point, I don't think it's worthwhile because with that MP switch that's getting you times 4, this is just redundant. You just don't. That's not important anymore. The Ghost times 3 is force. That's the one on the Phantom Train. They block you as you're trying to leave. Actinian times 3, Asperian times 2. This actually is an okay one. I ended up taking this because I did something a little different this last time where I completely avoided all the Anguiforms, and so you're really limited because that's the Serpent Trench stuff, and you're most likely going to end up with a bunch of these formations. And since this is a forced Phantom Train battle anyway, I just figured, all right, well, I'll take this one, right? Because who cares? We're going to end up running into this pack anyway. Ghost Populium times 2, that's redundant. That's Phantom Train stuff. Or no, I'm sorry, this is the forest before the Phantom Train. Same with this, Ghost times 2, Populium times 3. I actually I said to take that before the World of Ruin transition. And yeah, I mean, that's really just for completion's sake. Here's the Angel Whisper times 2 in the Cloud. I say to take that because it's invisible. That's actually Phantom Train stuff. Spritzer times 2, you can pass on that because it's redundant. We can get Spritzer somewhere else. Pack 10, it looks like most of this stuff is redundant. So this is Bomb times 2, Cloud. That's the outer area of the Phantom Train. Provoker, Lich. This is Sealed Cave stuff, and there's a better formation to take. Angel Whisper times 4. That's also redundant. That's Phantom Train. Same with Oversoul. I believe, yeah, Bomb times 3, that's outside. I've got the Bomb, and to take that before the World of Balance, I don't know that you need to take... So the Bomb actually shows up in 2 spots, which is a little weird. It's on the Phantom Train, and then actually in the, I believe in the bomb like forest area. That's the overworld once you get the airship. It doesn't really matter. Like you don't need to take the one on the Phantom Train if you don't. You can, because that's fine. But that's why I've got take before the World of Balance. Obviously, this specific bomb though, I think this is probably the one for the Phantom Train, which it technically would be. Well, it's not really missable though, right? Because you can still get the bombs on the overworld. Anyways. So this is a little confusing. I probably should have just said, like, pass on this one. Oversoul, Living Dead. You need to take that because these are missable. That's like the 6th car. I think it's the... God, is it the one? It's the one before or after the dining car. It's something like that. All right, next up, Angel Whisper, Living Dead, and Cloud. So this is going to be more Phantom Train stuff. Actually, these two are Phantom Trains, and you can pass these. You don't need to do that. Same with the Angleform times 2. That's going to be Serpent Trench. I would just, pass on those. Megalodoth times 2, Guard times 2. That's a forced fight at the beginning of the game. Living Dead times 3. That's the Phantom Train again, and you can just skip that one, right? Because we're already going to get Living Dead up here in the other pack. Here I've got Angleform, Actinian, and Asperian. You can take that before the World of Ruin transition. I actually didn't take any of the Angleform my last playthrough just because I wanted to do kind of more of a minimalistic approach. And the reason why I did that also is because that means that you're, if you only have the Megalodoth and Guard and then the Hell's Rider, you're going to get the Hell's Rider 50% of the time. And this guy's got a great steal. Yeah, he's really good. So I wanted to see that more often. And that meant, keeping this pack out of here to keep this at a 50%. So... all right. Anyways, heavy armor, corporal times 2. That's going to be the defense of Terra up in Narsh. I took that. Same with the Fidor corporal. Both of these are missable, by the way. And then here's an Angel Whisper. I don't know why this is way down here, because the rest of the Phantom Train stuff is up higher, but whatever. You can pass on that because it's redundant. The corporal times 4, I think that's the basement of South Figaro. I pass on that too. We don't need all those there. Hunting Hound corporal times 2. You're gonna take that, right? You have to. I think you run into the green soldiers for that. I think the heavy armor corporal might. That's probably a brown soldier now that I think about it. And same with the. Actually, this one might be a green one too. I can't remember anymore. Basically, there's 2 different types of soldiers. The green and the brown ones. Basically, and there's 4 total battles there that you can get into on the Narsh. Yeah, and I think it's the corporal times 4. That's another green soldier. So it's like these are the brown soldiers. I think the Fidor. I shouldn't even try because I don't remember anymore. But anyways, there's 4 total formations. You want to get 3 of them plus the Hell's Rider. So technically, there's. But the Hell's Rider is kind of special, right? Anyways, where were we at? Yeah, Hunting Hound Corporal, take that one. The Fossil Dragon, I say to take that before the World of Ruin transition. I can't remember where this guy is at. This is it's in a desert somewhere. I don't know if it's the one outside of... it doesn't matter. And then Bloodfang and Paraladia, Vulture, Iron Fist. I've got this stuff as all being redundant. This is the world map stuff. On the way to like Jidor. Iron Fist times 2, Rockwit times 2. I say take that prior to the transition. Same with Bloodfang Vulture, Bloodfang times 2 Vulture, and then Paraladia times 2 Rock Wasp times 3. I say take that before the transition. And then I've got Vulture, Iron Fist, and Rock Wasp times 4. This is all redundant stuff. Hillgigus, that's Zozo. I say take that prior to the transition. And then Crawler, that's redundant. Alright, so here's Zozo stuff. Gobbledygook times 4, that's redundant. The Veil Dancer, excuse me. The single Veil Dancer by itself, I say to pass on that. It's super dangerous, especially, early on if you're farming the Veldt for like spells and stuff, like super early on in the game. Because she'll just nuke the crap out of you. But I say the Veil Dancer with the 3 Gobbledygooks, you're going to want to take that. This is a really, really good formation, and especially like learning or raging the Gobbledygook because it casts Vanish. It's really cool. The single harvester can be passed on, and then the Veiled Dancer harvester ×2, you're going to want to take that as well. Also keep in mind, so it's the reason why the Veiled Dancer is so dangerous is because it casts spells while it's alone. So as long as you've got either the Gobbledygooks or the harvesters with it, that's fine, but always take her out first. Harvester Gobbledygook ×2, that's going to be redundant then, and then same with the Hillgigist harvester, that's redundant as well. Here's the Magna Rotor, the single purple Magna Rotor. That's forced for the first battle. This, you used to have to take this one if you wanted perfect stats, just because the way that the experience worked on the minecart, but you don't have to do that anymore because of the EXP switch. So actually now I didn't take this one. I just completely avoided this pack, and I went with the double purple Magna Rotor for the first battle. Basically, again, the minecart ride works. It's 5 battles. Battle 1 and Battle 3 are, I would say, at least similar, where I think you can get this pretty much the same encounters, and same with Battle 2, 4, and 5. Those 3 are the same, or similar at least. But yeah, so you can avoid the single Magna Rotor now if you want to, which is, again, what I did, right? I turned off experience for the minecart, and I just kind of let it rip. I think I did like 2 purple, actually I might have done 2 purple, then purple red, then 2 purple again, and then I don't remember what I got for my 4th and 5th battles. It may have just been like 2 purple the rest of the way. Yeah. So anyways, all right, so Goshia's Stunner ×2, that is the rafters in the Opera House. You can skip this one because you can just take the Gochia ×2 Stunner ×3, and you want to take that because those are actually missable. Also, I should say that it's really great with the EXP off. You don't have to avoid the rats anymore, and you don't have to watch the first part of the Opera House and then run into the rat and then die, right? Because that's how you used to be able to get that added to the Veldt without actually having to take that EXP. But you don't need to mess around with that stuff anymore. You just do this one. Basically, you reload or make sure that you get into this battle here, and then once you finish it off, then you quick save. Get into the next battle, and you just keep making sure that it's this formation and not this one. And if it's this one, then you just reload your quick save. The Crawler ×4 is World of Ruin. So generally, we'll start seeing some of the World of Ruin stuff now. Unless I say so, the World of Ruin stuff is not missable, right? There's very few enemies in the World of Ruin that are actually missable. So the Belzeq ×2, Sergeant ×2, that is the Magitech research facility, and I say to take that because it's actually missable. Basically anything in the Magitech research facility is missable. Belzeq Sergeant ×2. I mean, this is basically the same thing, except it's worse than this other one, so skip that one. Here's the Magna Rotor purple and Magna Rotor red. That's the forced minecart, and I saw this on the 3rd battle for sure. That's why I've got my little note here that says the 3rd battle. I would take that, right? Because there's also another battle that's 4 red Mag Rotors, and that's fine if you've got experience turned off. But that would have not been a possible formation earlier on, right? Without that experience switch, that we wouldn't have been able to take that. But anyways, we'll get into that. We'll see that formation in a little bit. Trapper ×3 is redundant. Same with the General ×2. That's again the Magitech research facility stuff. All right, so General Onion Knight ×2, you're going to want to take that. That's the Magitech Factory Stairwell, so that's going to get both of those enemies. Here's the Onion Knight ×4. That's obviously going to be redundant. Then Chaser Trapper ×3. So this is right after the minecart when you bulldoze or the minecart hits that soldier and knocks him into the void, and then the save point appears there. Basically, what this actually is it's a chaser that summons in 3 trappers after you kill the chaser. And so I prefer to take this one. And then the other one out there is a Chaser Onion Knight ×3, so you're going to want to avoid that one because it's redundant. Here's the Lenurgia that's still in the Magitech research facility in like the tube room. You're going to pass that. Commander ×3 is redundant. I thought that I already saw that one. No. So I think this one is the commanders in the in South Figaro. But yeah, I could have swore I saw commander times 3 already. Anyways, the Death Warden. This isn't possible in the Pixel Remaster. Death Warden was something that you could see in the advanced version of the game, right? So the Game Boy Advance. Kakavi is World of Ruin. Same with this stuff. Desert Hare is World of Ruin. Bomb. This is the other bomb, I think. That's the bomb from the Bomb Forest. You either need to take this one, or you need to take the one in or on the Phantom Train. And honestly, now that I'm looking at this pack here, you probably want to grab that one, the Phantom Train, because right, this stuff is, or this would be by itself, which, you know, if you want to cycle the Veldt faster, you don't want some random bomb out here in the middle of nowhere. But here's the bomb times 6. That's definitely the Bomb Forest. And I say to pass on that. That's redundant. So here's the EO and Cancer. That's World of Ruin stuff. Fossil Dragon times 2 is redundant. Fossil Dragon Bug times 3. I think that's really annoying, and to only take this prior to the World of Ruin transition. Wasn't there another? Hang on a second. I thought I saw another dragon. Where was that? Definitely not. That wouldn't be this high, right? Oh, is it the zombie dragon? No, yeah, that would be redundant. I feel like that wasn't it. The bombs. Yeah, I feel like you definitely want to grab that bomb instead. Although oh yeah, because you have to take the Oversoul Living. Yeah, definitely take that bomb. This is the bomb from the Phantom Train. I would take that one. That's a better option. Oh, here's the fossil tree. Yeah, why do I have... Okay, so I messed up on Pack 12. This we shouldn't do this. That'd be dumb. I'm gonna fix that right now. Yeah, that's not a good one to take there from Pack 12. Because it's Fossil Dragon, right? Yeah, Fossil Dragon Bug. This is the one that you want to take. Yeah. I don't know why. That's weird. Well, at least I found a mistake. Yeah, so again, though, annoying as heck. I think these ones are the ones that like zombie you or something like that. Very, very annoying, though. Bug times 3, bug times 6, those are both redundant. And then the Dawn times 2, that's going to be like the world map on the southern continent. You're going to pass on that. Dawn Wyvern times 2, that's redundant. Here I've got the Dawn Wyvern, the Lit War Chicken. That's just a very weird name. And I say to take that prior to the World of Ruin transition. Same with the Grassworm times 3. Dawn Joker is redundant, and then Joker times 3, take that prior to the transition. And then we've got 2 more redundant packs here with the Lit War Chicken times 5 and Zombie Dragon. And then here's the Zombie Dragon Outcast times 2. You want to take that. There's actually only 2 formations from the sealed cave that you need, and that's the Zombie Dragon here, and then there's one more coming up. Outcast, Provoker, and Terry's by themselves, that's all redundant. And here's the other sealed cave that you, or the cave to the sealed, what was the name of that? Gate. Yeah, Cave to the Sealed Gate is the name of the place, actually. Anyways, this is the very, very first room, and that's the Lich, Provoker, and Terry. So that gets you your other, right, again, so it's just these 2 formations that you need for the sealed cave. Here's the Lich times 3. That's redundant then, obviously. Here's the Imperial Elite times 3. You definitely want to take this. This is pretty decent. I mean, it's not as good as the Flans, I think, for farming Magicite shards, but excuse me. Every once in a while, you will get Magicite shards from them, so that's why I kind of like these guys. Balloon times 3 and Balloon times 6. This is the Burning House. You can pass on those. That's redundant stuff. You don't need those. Briareus Chimera, these are both redundant, so I think that is world map stuff. Briareus Devourer, though, you're going to want to take prior to the World of Ruin transition. The Devourer times 3, that's redundant. The Adamancary Bonicon times 2, definitely take that. Same with the Adamancary times 2 and the Bonicon times 5. So basically, I'll end up with his stuff on the Veldt anyway, because this is the best place to level in the World of Balance. I absolutely love that cave. That's the Esper cave. And then the Mandrake times 3 is redundant. Here's the Mandrake Landgrillin times 2. This is the the Esper Cave, but like outside areas. And I say to take that prior to the World of Ruin, and I say wait until just before the transition to farm the Gigantos, because the Gigantos is in this pack. Not as needed as it used to be, or not as kind of cool as it used to be. But you can still farm these guys if you want to, if you keep this pack, you know, pretty much clean. And then here I say to take this on the first trip through the floating continent with Gao, and then farm on the Veldt after. The Gigantos is actually in a chest on the floating continent. And I use Gao to take him down, because at that point I've got Gao like super leveled, so it's super easy. And then here's the Sky Armor ×2 Spitfire. I say this is the forced IAF fights, and take this formation or the one in pack 23. If you don't take this one here, you'll always run into Gigantos, right? As long as you've kept this pack clean, and so you can just keep farming Gigantos over and over, which is what I did. This is a little different. Maybe it doesn't matter that much to comment on it, but there was a time where you could glitch the Ragnarok Esper, and this pack ended up being really, really cool to farm during the World of Balance. Because of the ninjas have a really good morph. But this isn't really, I mean, that's not a thing anymore, so we don't really need to worry about grabbing the ninjas here. Or I should say at least farming them here. So, yeah, you can actually kind of keep most of this pack. Actually, you can keep this pack completely open then if you want to, right? If you want to keep your Sky Armor Spitfire in with the Gigantos, then you can avoid this. But you're going to end up with the Brain Pan Misfit Apocrypha anyway, so maybe that doesn't really matter that much. So really your choice on which one to take here. But yeah, I just say take this one anytime before the World of Ruin transitions. But let's see, Brain Pan Dragon. Oh, this one, yeah, very important. So the nice thing about the switch there and the ability to turn the encounters off is the Briareus and Chimera Devourer are world map encounters between Thaumasia and the Esper Cave. And by turning these off, you don't ever have to worry about hitting them, right? And then the rest of this pack is, well, aside from the grenade, which you wouldn't, well, you could screw it up, I guess, but it'd be pretty tough. The grenade's tough to find, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But anyways, this pack here, I always keep clean during the World of Balance until I'm done farming the dragon. So basically what I do is the floating continent, I go and turn encounters off, and then I basically, right before I jump down for the first time, I turn on encounters, quick save my game, and then get into basically just the dragon encounter, right? And if I get into any of the other encounters up there, I just reset my game. What that does is it makes it so that the dragon ends up on the Veldt by itself in pack 24, and then you can farm it for Genji gloves. Not as impressive as it used to be, I think. I think I used to enjoy the Genji gloves more than I do these days, but it's still a really good farming opportunity if you are looking for them. It's just the best way to do it, right? Because you save right before the pack on the Veldt, you start the battle with the dragon, you try to steal, oh crap, I only got a high potion, and you either die or run away, and then you reload your quick save, right? And then you just repeat the process over and over until you get as many Genji gloves as you want. So very, very cool farming opportunity there. So here, though, basically once I'm done farming the dragon, I take the Behemoth ×2, the Ninja ×2, the Platinum Dragon, and the Grenade, and the Chimera Devourer. But again, do that after the Genji gloves. And then the Briareus ×2, again, that's world map stuff. You can pass on that. That's redundant. Peeper ×2, I say avoid until the World of Ruin farming is done. That's actually, we're starting to get into the World of Ruin stuff here. And specifically, this is the Deserted Island. It's where you start at. I don't know why I would take the Peeper ×2 versus the Peeper ×3, because it doesn't really matter, though. And then, yeah, I don't have anything here. I think that's because I stopped. Okay, so bunch of this stuff. Yeah. This is what I did. So a bunch of this stuff, I'm not even going to comment on because it's World of Ruin stuff, because it doesn't matter, right? There's no way to screw it up. So it's really up to you from this point on what stuff to take. Here on pack 26, it says, here's the Killer Mantis ×3. It says a forced fight in the burning house. I don't even know if that's true. Forced fight in the burning house. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, because I just went through there and I didn't get that burning house. Yeah, I'm not sure on this one. That doesn't make sense to me, because I think also the Killer Mantis is outside. This might be just a wrong note. That doesn't seem right. I know the Nightwalker is inside the burning house. I just don't know about this killer. That doesn't seem right. Okay, so I'm going to do a big question mark on this one, because I don't know what was happening there. But most of this stuff is World of Ruin stuff that I see. Zaka Nightwalker, though, yeah, that's burning house for sure. I know the Nightwalker is, and that I got those in a chest, but I don't know about the Zaka Nightwalker together. That's another question mark. Scorpion ×3, I've got that on the burning house as well. So that's when Sabin is holding up the house and you're running through with Celeste. Here's the Intanger. I say to take that before the World of Transition, before the dragon if you need, want, MP, or after you're done farming the dragon. I don't know, that seems super detailed. Probably just take before the World of Ruin Transition. That'd probably be fine. Nightwalker ×4, that was the burning house. I popped open a chest, I know, when I got those, or I saw those. So the burning stuff, or burning house stuff, is missable, so just be careful there. Again, that's definitely Scorpion. I've got the Zaka Nightwalker here as well. Again, though, so when I did the burning house, I basically opened up, because there's 2 chests that end up being a monster in a box, but I saw Nightwalker ×4 both times. But I don't know if that's because I did one and then I didn't do the other, back to back. So maybe like Nightwalker ×4 is in the first chest and then Zaka Nightwalker is in the second one. I'm not sure. So you just got to be careful, I guess, with the burning house. Rest of the stuff is World of Ruin, so again, no reason to really comment much on that. Pack 28 says I've got here only take the Cactar, and that's for farming. That's not as needed now, because you can turn the MP switch, or you can do ×4 MP, so you're just learning your spells crazy fast. But the Cactar was a good way to do that, but I think it also gave a ton of gil, which also doesn't really matter either, because you can do ×4, so... here's pack 29. I say avoid this pack to cycle faster. This is all World of Ruin stuff. Let's see here. Pack 30, Dante. I think this is the South Figaro Cave, but in the World of Ruin. It says here the morph is a Thunder Shield, but stealing it from Stereodite is better. Yeah, that's true. But I used to screw around with that back when whatchamacallit was Ragnarok was glitchable, but that's not a thing anymore. Tonberries ×3, morph is imp items, steal Minerva. I don't know, that's not really that important. I guess you can steal the Minerva from these guys, but I don't know that you need to keep the pack kind of clean just for them. I don't know. The rest of this stuff is all World of Ruin stuff. Same with pack 31. This is all World of Ruin. None of this is missable, so don't worry about that. Same with pack 32. This looks like Daryl's Tomb stuff, or a lot of it is anyway. Same with pack 33. Punisher, Devil Face class. Yeah, I'm not sure where this stuff is all at, but World of Ruin. Same with pack 34. Same with 35. Primeval Dragon. I think this is actually Kefka's Tower stuff, or some of it is anyway. Test Rider. I think that's Narsh. Wizards, Psychos. I think some of this stuff, though, might be Phoenix Cave, too. Pack 36. I know some of this stuff is Narsh Caves. This is like the Mag Rotor stuff. I said avoid this pack to cycle it faster as well. Again, so none of this stuff is going to be missable. This is Owzer's house, or Owzer, whatever his name is. That's his mansion. Pack 37 is some interesting stuff, though. Misty ×2 is forced. That's one of the paintings that she grabs you as you're walking by. The Rafflesia ×3 is one of the best rages in the game. It's so broken. The Still Life is forced as well, and you can steal a second fake mustache from this guy. if you want one for Go-Go. Rest of this stuff is not missable, so nothing to worry about. Pack 38, I say avoid this pack to cycle faster. Yeah, this is going to be all. Some of this is World of. It's World of Ruin, but a lot of it's like overworld stuff. All right, so pack 39. I've got a note here that says some monsters here in Cyan Soul are missable. So specifically the Samurai Aljabber ×2. You're going to want to take that. That's within Cyan Soul. The Pluto Armor ×2. That's redundant though. And then here's the Coco Alluring Rider. That's redundant. But here you want to grab these 3 packs. So it's Pluto Armor Schmidt. That's missable. Again, this is Cyan's Dream. Were Dragon Parasite ×3. Same thing, missable. Alluring Rider and Pandora ×3. Missable as well. The Were Dragon by itself, you can skip that one. Coco Samurai Suriander. That's missable, so take that. And then Suriander, Pandora Parasite, and the Crawler. Those are 2 redundant ones. Tyrannosaur, Brachiosaur. Okay, so this one's interesting. I've got here that this is a potential farming opportunity, but ultimately not great. I think that's because you can, you can steal the ribbons from the Brachiosaur, and it will sometimes drop Celestriad. The problem with setting this up, though, is obviously you'd need to keep the pack empty, and then you'd need to cruise around in the dinosaur forest and basically reset your game constantly, right? Because you're most likely going to get into battles with the Tyrannosaurs instead. But you could get the Brachiosaur by itself and then farm it on the Veldt. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting idea, but ultimately I don't think it's that great because I think there's easier way to get ribbons, which is what you'd really want to get from this. And the Celestriad would be terrible trying to get Celestriads from Brachiosaur. There's way better options. Pack 42, avoid this to cycle faster. This is going to be all, that's World of Ruin stuff. Pack 43, it says, very important to not add anything from the Phoenix Cave other than the Gallipedes, and that's because the Gallipedes, in my opinion, is the best way to farm the Celestriad. It's a steal. It's unfortunately the rare steal. But what you do is you don't take anything from the Phoenix Cave, but you do take the Gallipedes and the Chaos Dragon. It's basically the very, very last room where there's the 2 switches, and basically both of your parties is down there together. And so basically you just reset the game until you get this. You run around, try to get into battles, but you got to try to get this one. And if you get anything else right, you have to reload your quick save. And again, I say that that's the best way to farm this Celestriad. You can run into the Gallipedes by betting certain things in the Coliseum, but I don't think that's a worse way to try to get it. This is just so easy, right? You set the Veldt up, you quick save right before this pack comes up. Okay, you're there now, and then you steal from the Gallipedes. Oh crap! it didn't. Or I didn't. Whatever. I stole the Phoenix down. Okay, well. You can either nuke your party down or just like smoke bomb out and then reload, right? It's just crazy fast. It's way faster than screwing around with the Coliseum. All right, so pack 44, I say avoid that to cycle faster. Again, this is going to be all World of Ruin stuff, so you don't have to even worry about it. All right, so pack 45. I don't like how that looks. There we go. That looks better. This stuff is World of Ruin stuff. You don't need to worry about that. Magic Urn ×2, that's also World of Ruin. All right, so Flan ×6 and Flan ×4. I say to take this while in the Magitech research facility. I actually took both of these packs, mostly because this last time I played, I farmed the flans for Magicite shards, and I literally spent so much time down there. I got 99 of them, which took a very, very long time. But anyways. You definitely want to take this while in the Magitech facility. That's where Shiva and Ifrit are at, so you have to turn encounters on, obviously, and grab these guys. Here's the other Magitech facility. This is such a weird pack. There's only 2 formations in it, and it's Destroyer ×2 and then Destroyer Linergia. I actually wish I wouldn't have taken this pack because I don't care about these rages anymore, but if you want a complete list, you probably want to grab this one, right, because it's Destroyer Linergia ×2. And that's it for that pack. So pack 47 is Vector Hound ×2 and Commander. I say to take this during lock scenario. Vector Hound Commander. That must be the basement. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably the basement. And then the Vector Hound ×2, that's redundant then, right? Because you're going to get the Vector Hound up there. Cartogra Acrophes, I say to pass on that because Cartogra is a default rage. And then here's the Acrophes one that you want though, and that's with the Gold Bear. You want to take that prior to the World of Ruin transition. Basically, this is the second or any other. Well, it's basically not. It's just not the first trip through the South Figaro cave. It's like after that. And then Cartogra, Acrophes, Dark Side. These 3 packs are redundant. Here's the Dark Side Spectre Uracoat. I think that is the security system in the Narsh mines. So you have to. That's during. It's not just during Terra's scenario, right? You can actually take this all the way until the end of the World of Ruin, but I'm sorry, all the way to the end of the World of Balance. Once you get into the World of Ruin, though, this disappears, right? So these are technically missable. I should have said that's missable. Valier, Wild Rat, and the Valier packs, this is redundant, but you do want to take this one. That's the Valier ×2, Wild Rat ×3, so I say take that prior to World of Ruin. Pack 49 has nothing in it. Pack 50, I just say to avoid this because you want to cycle the packs faster. This is World of Ruin stuff. Same with this stuff here. But Pack 51's got the Proto Armor Onion Knight. So I say pass this because it's redundant. The Proto Armor appears on the Veldt, but it doesn't have a rage. So there's not really much reason to get these. Proto Armor ×2 can be found in the Magitech facility, but it has no rage either. One of the things that you can do is when you're in the Magitech research facility, you can just kill one of these, but then either die or reload a quick save, and that's just to add that to your bestiary. Because there's no reason to actually take that, right? Because again, there's no rage for it anyway. Onion Knight ×5 is redundant. Magnerite Rotor ×2 is both purple. So this is one of the forced minecart battles. I say I've got 2, 4, and 5 there. Although that can also be battle 1. Yeah, because you can get into Magna Rotor ×2. Yeah, so that note's a little wrong there. Magnerite Rotor ×4 is all red, so that says forced minecart as well. Normally you wouldn't want to take that because that's a bunch more EXP, right? So like any other time that we've played through and you wanted perfect stats, you couldn't take that pack. But now with the EXP switch off, you can actually take that and that's fine. And it's going to end up in the same pack as this other crap anyway. So, all right. So the Templar ×2, Imperial Soldier ×2, that's pack 52. That's forced during Sabin scenario. So you got no way around that. Here's where I go with the balloon, or here's where I add the balloon packs. So that's inside the Burning House in Themasia. I say to take that to keep pack 20 smaller because I think pack 20 must have balloons in it as well. Basically, when you're going through the Burning House, it's the very first door on the very first left door that you'll see, and you'll try to go through it, and 4 balloons will pop out, and you can actually farm there. And I did that in my most recent playthrough. Basically, I farmed that spot to teach Strago a bunch of spells, so that was pretty cool. But again, that wasn't prior to this version of the game. We weren't able to do that because they would give us a bunch of experience. So Imperial Soldier ×2, I'm not sure where these are actually at, but I say to pass on that because they're redundant. And then these 3 are World of Ruin stuff, and that's not missable, so no issue there. Sergeant ×4, these are easily avoidable. I think you can see these. I think actually specifically this one is right after the minecart ride, in the same area as the chaser enemy. But you want to avoid these because it's redundant. And then here's the Sergeant by itself. Now here's a really interesting thing. So I say this solo Sergeant is met during the Imperial Banquet and can be avoided now since we don't need the Ward Bangle. You don't just get the Ward Bangle, though. You get the Tintinabulum, which I don't care about either, though you can get plenty of those if you want them in the World of Ruin. So actually, this time around, when I did the Imperial Banquet, I didn't talk to the soldiers that would fight us, that turned into the Sergeant, right? I still did the mega armor or whatever it was. but I didn't do the single sergeant. And so I actually kept pack 53 completely empty. Pack 54 has got the Behemoth King. It says undead here. It can be met if encountered in pack 57. Basically, you have to do the Behemoth King, and then I say here to keep the rest of the pack open to farm Behemoth suits. You can add this other stuff later, but I do use this a bit because those Behemoth King or the Behemoth suits are pretty cool, and I think they're a good Coliseum bet if I remember right. Here's the Behemoth King in pack 57, but this actually doesn't appear on the Veldt because this is the live version. 58, 59, and 60 are all empty. 50 or 61 is the Holy Dragon, which is so weird, right? A boss or one of the dragons that you actually get to farm on the Veldt. So I say it's a great place to farm for a Holy Lance Steel and the Safety Bit Morph. That's not as viable anymore, but there actually still is a way to do that. If you use a Magicite Shard, and you can get Ragnarok to pop sometimes, and actually that's kind of what I did. I have an old video on that, but it's a pain. But you can use Go-Go. So basically, you use one of the other characters to use the Magicite Shard, and if you get Ragnarok to pop, if it's not successful, you can mime with Go-Go, and then defend with everybody else, and then just keep miming with Go-Go back to back. And he'll keep trying Ragnarok until it actually works. So that's pretty slick, but it's also extremely annoying. But that is it. The last part is the Outsider, Dark Force, and Cherry. That ends up in pack 61, but I would hold off on getting this. I want to say maybe this is Kefka's Tower. I can't remember where these guys are at, though. But anyways, that is it. That is the Veldt manipulation. Man, what a long one. That's a banger of a video. So some slight tweaks from the last time that I played, and mostly because I just don't care as much this time around about getting all of Gao's Rages. So I tried to, where I could, I actually did try to move some of these formations into other packs to keep, certain packs completely empty. And just cycle faster so that I can farm the things that I actually want, like the Celestriad, for instance, and the Galaptus or whatever. But anyways, that is it for this one. As always, I hope the guide was helpful, and thanks for watching.